Hello and good evening, beautiful people. Welcome back to Spill the Tea Lou. Not much to talk about this evening, not a lot going on, nothing much happening, except for the fact that Arsenal have just beaten Atletico Madrid over two legs to get through to the Champions League final for the second time in their history. And as Dibs was sweating it out. Dibs was sweating this out in the chat for that whole second half. Rob was keeping him company, cheering him on from the sidelines. Absolute congratulations. Well done. Deserving winners. Not only on the night, but over the tie as well. And well done, Arshem. Well done, Arshem. I'm sure. I don't know. I had them on my head for watching the match. I always feel like I'm shouting when I have them on my head because I don't hear how loud I'm talking. But yeah, shout out to Dibs. Shout out to JT. We had Footy Corner TV in with us. Was that earlier today? That was on the 12 o'clock show. Shout out to all of the very nice Arsenal fans that come into our chat. Obviously, I was not rooting for you to win. I was rooting for Atletico Madrid, which I believe was probably the deciding factor. The Luju voodoo worked, whether I wanted it to or not. But yes, Div says 20 years I've been waiting to get back into this final for the greater good. So well done to our Dibs and the other, as I said, the other lovely Arsenal fans that do join us on these shows. Not the outcome I wanted, but fair play to ye lot. Enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it. I'm sure there was people in the stands ready to, probably the bookings ready to hit book as soon as the final whistle blew. Obviously, things were getting a little bit fractious there towards the end, but when it is such an important occasion, that's very much to be expected. Mama Flossie is in the house, congratulating our very lovely Chris. Richie's in the house. Good evening to you, Richie. Good evening to our Shem. Shem is saying, I remember the last time, days of Henri, Messi, Iniesta and those kind of players. Cleo Girl is in the chat. Cleo Girl is feeling happy. She is saying, get in. Well done to Cleo as well. Obviously, as I said, Rob has been in the chat. Rob and Flossie and I were in the chat earlier on. There was me and Rob and Flossie. It was just the three of us, wasn't it? And then we got to halftime. Well, I had a bit of a blip. Dibs joined us for the second half. And Rob was like an emotional support mod for Dibs throughout that second half. Oh, JT is feeling absolutely delighted. The lemon is out. It's the kissy lemon. The kissy lemon is in the chat. JT is feeling the joy. Thank you very much, because now I'm feeling the joy as well. I love them lemon stickers. But yes, congratulations, guys. Let us talk about the match, because it means, obviously, just in the grand scheme of things, you guys are now, after this weekend, you've gone a few extra points clear at the top of the Premier League. You're now in to the Champions League final. Let us not talk about who you might face in the final, because I don't want to dampen your spirits on this night. We will let the second semi-final happen, and then when we know who the finalists are, we will discuss it at that point. I don't want to rain on your parade tonight. Even as a United fan, I don't want to rain on your parade tonight. I'm going to try my absolute best to show you some support. I'm gonna really try. I might have to block my brother on my phone for a little while. And if you win the Premier League and the Champions League, I might have to move country. But other than that, I mean, that might logistically be a bit of a problem for me. But other than that, I'm very happy for you guys. Dibs is saying he really was, and I had, oh yeah, Rob, he really was, and I had to really work hard to not anger the football gods for the greater good. Well, you see, Dibs, never mind the football gods, I had got the Luju voodoo out accidentally, whether I meant it or not. So don't you worry, there is no amount of football god annoyance that is stronger than the Luju voodoo. Harold is in the house saying quality from Arsenal tonight. Lovely Luke has joined us as well. JT, I agree with you. JT says a very nervy start, but at the end we didn't play as bad as it looked, or it could have been. What I will say, and I'm going to just I'm going to let us talk about the match, about this particular match, and then we'll talk about the whole thing. Yeah, bow down to the Ludo Voodoo. I mean, I can't direct it. I can't do it when I'm trying. It's very much an accidental thing. I genuinely wanted Atleti to win, and that's the only reason it works. I can't do like reverse psychology with the Ludo Voodoo. It has to be real stuff. But this specific match, at the end of the first half, my impression of the first half was it was very boring. Now, I made a mistake because I went into a watch along just for the halftime part, just to see kind of what the vibe was around. Sometimes I find it interesting to see if the vibe for other people, I don't normally watch alongs while I'm watching it because I don't want to be influenced by what people are saying. So I'll watch, say, the first half, I'll have my impression, I'll make my notes, and then I'll sometimes watch like a halftime, like say, on different channels. And so I went into one today. And I made the mistake of saying that I thought the first half was boring. Well, I was nearly lynched. Oh, well, Arsenal this and poor Arsenal that, and people are lying about Arsenal and picking on Arsenal and poor Arsenal. And I was like, hold on a wee minute. Just let's calm down a wee minute. I said the first half was boring. I did not say Arsenal were boring. So can we just take a little breath before we have a heart attack? I thought the first half was very, very boring. Not, contrary to popular belief, that it was Arsenal's fault that it was boring. I thought Atleti were not trying to win the match. And it was very frustrating to watch. And I spoke about this actually about 2 Premier League teams the other day. People will remember when I was discussing the Villa and the Forest match, I said Villa were atrocious. It didn't feel like they were trying to win the match. Therefore, I was delighted the Forest won because at least they were trying to play football. That was how I felt tonight about Arsenal. While going into the match, obviously, I didn't want Arsenal to go through to the final. I felt at least they tried to play the game. At least they tried to win the game. At least they went into the match attempting to play football. Atleti went in not to win the match, but to stop Arsenal winning. And that frustrated me watching it. I found it very boring. It was very boring to watch the first half. The second half livened up a bit. But I thought the first half was very much Arsenal control, Arsenal possession, Arsenal trying to probe, trying to go down the wings, trying to go through the middle, trying to create chances, and just Atleti just defending. They had a very short spell for about 5 minutes, maybe less, in the whole first half where they looked somewhat threatening. Overall, though, Arsenal had the ball and Atleti were happy to let them have it and just sit and defend. And I just thought, you know what? If that's the way you're going to play, you deserve to lose. You're in a Champions League semi-final and you're not even trying to win. I understand tactically sometimes, as I said before, if it's Burnley versus City, I can understand where the Premier League, Burnley versus City, they're probably not going to go out and go toe-to-toe with Manchester City, right? I get it in some scenarios. But tonight, Atletico Madrid went out to a Champions League semi-final where they were 1 apiece, they were drawn. It might as well have been 0-0 on aggregate, and they didn't even try for the first half. So do you know what? Just on pure principle, I'm not, but I am actually happy that Arsenal won because they were the only team that actually tried to play football in the first half, and Atletico only somewhat tried in the second half because they had no choice because they were already down. So I thought Arsenal played well. I thought they stuck to their task. I thought they showed a great amount of patience because I was feeling so frustrated watching it. I can only imagine as a player how frustrating it is to play in that scenario where you're like, can you just play football, please? Can we just play a game of football? You play, we play, and whoever's better wins. As a player, the discipline it must take to not do something stupid when you're trying to attack and the other team is just sitting in defending. So I would say it has to take mental discipline from the Arsenal players to not just do something stupid. Because I'll be honest, if I was playing in a game like that and the other team's sitting in like that, I'm doing something stupid. I'm probably getting sent off because I'm just going to do something just to get the game going. So it took a lot of mental discipline from Arsenal to stay in the match, to keep probing, to not do something stupid, which probably I would have done, and to then actually get themselves ahead in the game. I thought Rice was far better in this leg than he was in the first leg. I thought in the first leg, Declan Rice was very underwhelming. He was a little bit anonymous. Today, I thought he was far better, particularly in the first half. Lookman, we talked so much about that Lookman-Ruggeri partnership from the first leg for Atleti. This leg, Lookman couldn't get in the match. He was not good at all. I thought Ruggeri was still good, but Lookman couldn't get into the game. And that was one of the main things that worked for them in the first leg. And this leg, it just didn't. So some of the things that didn't work for Arsenal, a la Declan Rice, didn't work in the first leg. In the second leg, were vastly improved. And some of the things that did work for Atleti in the first leg, a la Ruggeri and Lookman, that didn't work in this leg. Those things matter. Those things change. That was their main outlet in the first leg. They didn't have it in this leg, and then they basically had nothing. Lookman couldn't get, he ended up getting subbed off because he just couldn't get into the match. Griezmann, there was a load of penalty shouts, to be honest. There was a load of penalty shouts kind of on and off throughout the match at both ends. I thought most of them were a bit of nonsense. There was one in the first half. Griezmann went into Trossard's back. It was a penalty shout. It wasn't given. VAR looked at it and said no. But there was a game recently. I can't even remember if it was Premier League or Champions League, guys. I literally cannot remember. Maybe you will remember me talking about it on a match reaction. A player went with the elbow into the back of another player and the penalty was given. And that's the only reason I'm bringing that one up, because recently, in the last, I would say 2 weeks, since the last international break, so recent enough, there has been an incident exactly the same. The elbow goes into the player's back, the penalty was given. So if it was given, I don't think VAR would have overturned it. I think VAR essentially went with what the on-field referee decided. It wasn't given, they didn't overturn it. I think it was given, they probably wouldn't have overturned it, if I'm honest with you. It was the only one that I thought was even worth sort of mentioning. I don't want the review to be about that, because to be honest, it made no difference in the end. But it is one I've seen given recently, and I just can't remember what it was. JT is saying, I don't mind it, but I've seen pushes in the back being given. Yeah, I've seen it been given. I've seen it been given in the last few weeks. As I said, I don't even remember if it was the Champions League or the Premier League. I can't remember. It's in this notebook somewhere, but I mean, this is nearly full, so it literally could be anywhere. Tom is in the house with us. Hello to Tom. Rob Always United, reminding everybody to please hit the like button, folks. Correct and right. Thank you very much, Rob, for reminding everybody. JT is saying, at times, I swear I've seen the whole squad, including the academy, defending in the box for Atletico. It felt that way, didn't it? It really felt that way. JT is also saying, I think we were the slightly better team. Confidence wasn't really there, but for me, the pressure on this game is bigger than on the final. There was so many blunders in moving the game forward. A little more quality was needed. Harold is saying that is so weird in the second half. How didn't they go for it more? I can't understand it. It genuinely felt like they couldn't care less if they won or not. When you think this entire team was rested, we looked at it in the preview. He rested the entire team during the week. So they would be fully at the races, energetic, ready to go, not tired for this match. It looked like they were the team that had been playing all the minutes that Arsenal have been playing. They looked tired. They looked not at the races. They looked not energetic. They looked slow off the mark. I saw Shem said earlier, where is the Atleti team that faced Barcelona? Who knows? They weren't here tonight anyway. They were not here tonight. JT is buzzing. I would be buzzing too. Enjoy it. Absolutely enjoy it. JT says, the pressure needs to be off. We just go there and have fun. We are the underdogs for the final. A loss isn't the end of the world, and a win is madness. Do you know what? I completely agree with that. Because whether you face Bayern Munich or PSG, you are the underdog. Nobody expects Arsenal to beat PSG or Bayern Munich. I definitely don't. And I'm not going to change my mind on that. I'm not going to go, oh, well, all of a sudden, no. For me, you are the underdog. I don't think it's impossible you beat them, but I think they're the favourites, regardless of which of them it is. So I agree. You are the underdogs, which means if you win, it's a turn up for the books. And if you don't, well, it's not exactly a shock. So yeah, I completely agree with that, JT. 100 percentages. JT says what really scared me was the subs. It finally looked like we built some chemistry and solid plays, and then we subbed off half the team. To be fair, they also made a load of subs. There was like a mass substitute thing for both teams all at once. It was very funny because as you say, you never know where the chips are going to land. Even if one team makes a lot of changes, it's hard to know what's going to happen. When both teams make a chunk of changes, like Simeone used all 5 of his subs, not all at one time because one was a little bit after, but you get my point. You don't know where the chips are going to land when that happens. It can be a little bit nervy, but even when Atleti did start attacking in the second half, I never really felt like they were going to win the match. I didn't feel like they were dangerous at all. Tom McBride says, I just want to say it's an honour to be part of this community. These extra interactions in my day are incredible for my mental health. Thanks, everyone. Shout out to Tom. First of all, an absolutely lovely message. Second of all, I love this channel. See, when I'm tired, when I'm not in the mood, when I've had a bad day, when like you've got stuff going on, I absolutely love coming into this chat, talking to you guys. I feel like it's genuinely such a really nice place. Everybody gets on, and like we're all rivals. We are all from different teams, and it's just nice. It feels really welcoming. So I'm glad that you feel that way as well, Tom, because we love having you a part of the community. The cult. And we're so glad that you're here. So thank you very much. And guys, as some of you will know, just to touch on this, we're going to come back to the match, but it's important and it's really nice that Tom has put this in. So I just want to mention it. Some of you will know because you will have seen it before. But Kate and Jimbo, the Spurs fans, Kate has been on the channel before, but they've also got their own channel, Kate and Jimbo, which I have been on. And they do charity streams. I think they do it kind of once a year. They've done this year's one already for suicide prevention, mental health awareness, and that kind of a thing. And so I was on their stream discussing mental health. So for those that don't know, like I've struggled over the years with my mental health. You know, I've had depression, I've had anxiety disorder, I've had struggles with my mental health. And I completely agree with Tom. Sometimes it's just the little things. It's these nice little interactions. It's the community, it's the feel of it. And it certainly helps my mental health as well, having you guys here. So I completely agree with you, Tom. And thank you so much for your chat because it's really lovely. It's really nice. And I'm really pleased. And as Flossie says, it's lovely to have you here as well. And yes, Tom is one of us. It's too late to escape. He's stuck with us now. Now, sorry, we will go back to the football, but I wanted to take the time to address that because it was a lovely message from Tom. And yes, JT says, I think it was exactly the same Atletico that showed up against Barca. We just didn't play a suicide high line for them to exploit. I mean, that's probably fair. That is probably a reasonable point. You defended a bit better than Barcelona. You didn't lead with your ego. And that's what I'm talking about, right? Do you remember earlier when I said it takes a lot of mental discipline from the players not to do something stupid because it gets frustrating and you just want to make something happen. And I think the Barcelona players got frustrated and then they went and did stupid things. Guys, give me a second because I'm speaking and it looks like the camera is completely out of sync. Bear with me just a sec. I'm going to just turn it off and then turn it back on. I'm not disappearing. I will be back. I can see that I'm out of sync and it's really irritating me. So bear with me. Okay, I should be back in sync now. If not, I don't know what else to do because I've turned it off and on again and I don't want to wreck everything midstream, but that was just really irritating me. So hopefully I'm back in sync again. Hopefully I'm back in sync. Yes, forever, Tom. You're stuck with us forever. JT says, I think we have like a 15 to 20% chance in the final, but it will be such a different game to what either of them are used to. We could catch them off guard. That's why I prefer Bayern. Enrique has more experience to come up with a counter plan, but at the end of the day, I think we just lose on individual quality. Oh, was in sync for you. On my side, it looked really weird. So I'm glad it's okay for you guys because that's what matters, really. I was like, oh no. I thought, do you know what it is? When it started to go out of sync, I was like, I hope this isn't going to overheat and turn itself off. That's what I was worried about. But no, once it's in sync for you guys, that's what matters. I do agree as well, JT, to be fair. I do agree with that. I think 15 to 20% is probably about right. And that's what I mean. You definitely aren't the favourites, but I don't give you no chance at all. What I do want to say just on this match as well, I thought Eze was all right. I thought Eze was decent. I thought he was good. Who did we think was good? Like when you're looking now towards the final, who do we think showed themselves well? Maybe kind of for a starting spot. Who do we think maybe underperformed a little bit? Like the first goal I thought was a good sort of team goal. Gyökeres and then Trossard, and then it was saved, and then Saka gets the rebound. You know, that was a good team goal. But like there was so much more to the match outside of that. Like Raya makes me nervous, guys. Raya makes me nervous, and I know he's won the Golden Gloves, not the Golden Boot. I know he's won the Golden Gloves, but he makes me nervous. He does some really stupid things. Like he came running out at one point. He was in no man's land. Simeone had made a great run, and only for Gabriel, like the ball could have been in the back of the net. I thought and it's not the first time I've seen him do really silly things. He makes me nervous. He does. I know obviously he's not going to get dropped, but he does really make me nervous. I see you guys here. So JT is saying, for me, Miles Lewis-Skelly was man of the match. Luke Watts is saying Gyökeres, and Rob is saying Gyökeres. JT is saying Ben White surprised me. Right, let us get into those. I thought Miles Lewis-Skelly was decent. I don't think he was amazing. I don't think he was bad. I thought he was decent. Gyökeres, for me, and I've seen everybody like praising Gyökeres, so this might be out there. I might be just not seeing it. I thought in the first half, Gyökeres struggled to get into the match. I'll be honest. I thought in the second half he was better. I thought in the second half he was using his physicality. In the second half he was holding up the ball. In the second half he was, getting into the positions and distracting the defenders. In the first half, I felt he struggled to get into the match a little bit. JT. JT says Gyökeres was trying, but I think he wasn't good at all. I didn't think he was good in the first half. I thought in the second half he was better. But I've seen loads of people praising him. There's a lot of people that are agreeing with Luke and Rob and are of the opinion that Gyökeres was very good. I thought maybe I was blind because I just wasn't seeing it. The first half, I thought he really, really struggled to get into it. The second half, I thought he was better, but he did miss that massive chance. 65 minutes in, massive chance for Gyökeres. The one that he kind of hit off the front of his leg, off the side of his foot. The front of his leg is not the side of his foot. It hit off the side of his foot, but it was kind of up in the air. It's a hard one to get, but like he probably should have scored. Like Oblak was out of the picture. Do you know what I mean? It would have been a goal if he just hit it right. I don't think he was great. I thought he was okay in the second half. I didn't think he was good in the first half. JT says, I thought he made some good runs and gave the defenders a headache, but with the ball, not enough at all for me. At least get it on target. That's the second half. I thought he was making the runs. In the second half, I thought he was giving the defenders a headache. In the second half, I felt like he was trying. In the first half, I just didn't feel like it was happening for him. Rob is saying he thought he was good off the ball. And that's what I'm talking about. In the second half, I thought he was good off the ball. In the first half, I just didn't feel it. I thought he was trying, but it wasn't happening. So, yeah, like Mohammed here is saying, I think Glock 10 is playing with more confidence now. See, I didn't think he was playing with more confidence at all. I thought he looked a bit frustrated in the first half. As I said, better in the second half. But I thought he looked a bit frustrated. Divs, Divs has given us a list. Divs says Gyökeres, Eze, Trossard, Miles Lewis Skelly, Saka, White, Rice, Raya, Gabriel, and Hincapie. Only Saliba was a little below par, but I have Canon glasses on for the greater good. I did think Gabriel was very good. Right, let's go through them. Gyökeres I thought was underwhelming. Eze I thought was good. Trossard, I thought was decent. Miles Lewis Skelly, I thought was decent. Saka, I thought was good. I agree with JT. Ben White was surprisingly good. Rice, I thought was good. Raya terrifies me. Raya just terrifies me. Gabriel was good. Hincapie was good. I don't think Saliba was bad. And I know you didn't say he was bad, but he wasn't as good as Gabriel, is kind of what I would say there. David Speaks Football is in the house. Can't believe it. Bloody awful. Surely the universe can't allow this to happen. David, I'm not sure how to break it to you, but in fact, it has happened. And it is happening. And it's real. Oh dear. Oh dear. David, did you think... Right, so David here says... It takes an awful team to make Gyökeres look class. Simeone should be sacked tonight. Awful. How Barca lost to them. First of all, I thought they played better against Barcelona. Second of all, we know you love a bit of the theatrics with Simeone. Third of all, I don't think Gyökeres looked class. I don't get this. Absolutely not. Not in a million years, not if you paid me €1 million, no chance whatsoever in any way, shape or form would I even consider taking Raya over Lamans. Not even close, not a competition, no way, no how. None. I wouldn't take Donnarumma over Lamans. I definitely wouldn't take Raya. Absolutely not. No way whatsoever. And that's nothing to do with the fact that he plays for Arsenal. I've consistently said Raya terrifies the life out of me. I've consistently said Raya makes me a little bit nervy. And I've consistently said I think Lamans is fantastic and is going to keep improving. So, no, absolutely not. No way, no how. Definitely. Not a chance. Yeah. Exactly. Lamans is our boy. We swap him for no one. You have to fight me if you want him. Put him up. Yes. David's feeling a little sour. He's going to struggle to sleep. However, you're reading it right. He did say congratulations. He snuck it in there, but he did say congratulations. Let me see. It's all right. Dibs and JT aren't easily offended. They're not easily offended. And certainly not tonight. They're too happy to be offended tonight. They don't care what we think. They're just here for the lulz. What else? Because I know I skipped a few comments there. Let me see, what else did you guys say? Yes, Shem. I was a little out of sync, but I'm back with it. So I didn't skip as many comments as I thought I did. Dibs. As a striker himself, Dibs says, I can tell you how hard it is to get your foot over the ball when you're running in and trying to get into a mid-high cross. So it wasn't as easy it looked for the greater good. No, it's definitely not an easy chance. It's the kind of chance that it's very easy, because if it hits just slightly the wrong part of your foot or your ankle, or because it's all bone there, if it hits slightly the wrong angle, it goes away off. We've seen one. Who scored one of those recently? And we said it was very good because it's so hard to control it when it's in the air and it's off your leg. And we said it was a very good goal because it's a hard one. I don't think it was an easy chance, but I think he should have scored it. For a striker that came in at the level he was at, with the plaudits that he was at, as your main man, as the number one guy, with All Black kind of not in the picture in terms of saving it, it's the kind of one, it's not an easy chance, but it's the kind of chance you would like to think he's going to score, if you get what I mean. If it's going to fall to one of your players, you're going to hope it's your main striker, at which point you're going to hope he scores it, if that makes sense. So no, I don't think it was easy, but I do think it's the kind of thing you probably do want him to be scoring, certainly going forward. Who was about... Mohammed, I thought I answered this incredibly clearly. Like, I don't think I could have been any clearer. Lawmans is better than Raya. I don't think I could have been any clearer. I thought I was pretty emphatic that Lawmans is better than Raya. If I could pick tomorrow, and neither of them had ever played for either United or Arsenal, I would still pick Lawmans because I would trust him more, because I think Raya is erratic and does crazy things, and Lawmans makes me feel calm. So I would say Lawmans. In case, like, I don't know how there was any doubt after what I'd said. I thought it was pretty emphatic. But just to be really clear, Lawmans. But tonight is not about Manchester United. Tonight is about Arsenal. So let us not drift into that territory of talking about something that's actually nothing to do with the match, because Lawmans didn't play. So we were discussing who we think would make it into the final. One of the interesting ones that we did pick out was Ben White. So Ben White, I don't think has been particularly good since he's come back. He's been a little bit off. Today, I thought he was quite good, surprisingly good. Would you then want to see him starting in the final? It looks like Arteta's sticking with him anyway. Because he's come back, since he's come back, he's been playing. He's been playing consistently. Arteta keeps picking him. So I assume he's going to play in the final no matter what. But do you feel, as Arsenal fans, do you feel a little bit more relaxed about that now? That you're after today's performance, seeing him in the final, you'd be happy with that? Or would you still maybe prefer not to have him starting in the final? Where would you guys fall on that, Luke and JT and Dibs? What do you guys reckon to that? Were you happy enough with Ben White tonight that you'd be happy with him starting in a final? JT says it looks like we'll have to play White. grudgingly, but it has to be somewhat calming that he did. I thought he did well tonight. I thought he did well defending. I also thought he did well going forward tonight. He was creating a little bit. He was getting forward. He was definitely creating. I thought it was good. And JT, you were 100% correct. You got Saka for 60 minutes. You got him for 60 minutes. What is your next match, guys? I know I should do this, but who is your next match in the Premier League? Let's go to Arsenal upcoming matches. Your next game is against West Ham in 5 days, and then Burnley, and then Palace. That's not a bad last 3 games. That's not a bad last 3 games. Definitely City have a worse last set of games than you guys. And obviously, yous have got them points now. I reckon yous win it. I really do. Genuinely, I do think yous are going to win it. But that was my question. Do you think now Saka, you just keep building up Saka's minutes over the next few matches and then he starts the final with the hope of playing all of it? What do you reckon on that one? JT says, I would prefer Timber, but he won't get up to fitness and play youngster centre-back out of position there. I don't know. He did well under pressure though. And let me see. Yeah, no, I agree with Tom. I just don't want to stray into a conversation that's nothing got to do with the match. Arsenal did very well tonight. They've done something really big for their club. They've done something really big for their fans. Considering a week ago they were bottlers and they were losing everything and they were going to go out of everything. As I said, I still don't have yous for favourites for the Champions League, but I just don't want to stray into whose player is better category. I've answered the question, but I don't want the whole show to end up being about Man United versus Arsenal. Man United didn't play tonight. So let us discuss. No, Tom, not you. Not to worry at all. You know what I'm like. I'm easily distracted. I have to tell myself to stay on topic. Otherwise, I'm away. Dibs is saying, if Timber is fit, I'd prefer Timber. White makes me nervous like Raya does for you, Lou. I don't get that, by the way. Raya doesn't make me nervous at all for the greater good. To be fair, it's always going to be a personal opinion. And it's not because he's the Arsenal keeper. It's the way he is, the way he comes out. Sometimes he's just in no man's land. Sometimes he's up at the halfway line. He makes me really nervous. He does. He really. I've watched every match. I've watched every single match you have played this season. He genuinely makes me nervous. Some of the saves, like he made some really good saves today. There was one particular save today. It was very good save. And did I write it down? I normally write down when it happens, but maybe I didn't. Massive. There you go. 55 minutes in. Massive save from Raya. It was Griezmann's shot. So it's not that I think he's quite a decent shot stopper. His reflexes are very good. His reflexes are very good. But he just does crazy things. He just does crazy things. He really, really makes me nervous. Let me see. Jibs is saying, I might be wrong, but I think it's his second Golden Glove for Arsenal. No, it's his third one. As JT has said before me, it is his third one. It is his third Golden Glove. But, I mean, I'm not going to change my opinion just because somebody else rates him. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's my opinion. So, I'm not going to just change it because he won the Golden Glove. Do you know what I mean? He makes me nervous. I wouldn't like him to be my keeper. I think he does erratic things. That's my opinion. Do you know, you can disagree with it, but I'm not going to change it because he won the Golden Glove. Do you know what I mean? JT says he does create problems for himself, but he makes up for it with some world-class level reflex save. He does. He makes some incredible saves. And that's the thing. I'm not disputing his shot-stopping ability. I think as a keeper, he's quite good. But I think he does really erratic things. And if he was my keeper, I'd be really nervous. I wouldn't like my keeper doing that. I like a bit more of the steady, calm life. But we've had a lot of crazy keepers in the last little while, so I don't need my keeper on the halfway line heading the ball. I just want him to be in the net. Let me see. No, that's cool. That's cool. Let me see. What else are you saying? Oh, yes. So Dibs was saying Timber, and JT also said Timber. So both of you would prefer Timber, but he's just not going to be fit enough. So you're going to have to stick with White. JT is saying, in terms of the Premier League, one big thing is from after the West Ham game, you have 7+ days rest for each game remaining. The thing is, and maybe it'll be really good for you, sometimes the rest, I think, doesn't help. Sometimes the rest, I think, you lose a bit of momentum. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I just, look what Atleti did. Atleti rested basically their whole first 11 in the week. And then they came into the match and they looked like they weren't going to be able, they just looked like they weren't up for it at all. And so I think it depends on the team. I think it depends on the scenario. But I think not, we've played one game a week for most of this season, and a lot of the time I don't actually think it's done us good. I think we've been a little rusty in some occasions. So I think you have to be careful of the balance of it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying yous are all just going to fall off. I just think it does have a downside as well. Shout out Mohammed, who has joined us, and Tom McBride with a burning question. Do Arsenal's world-class defence protect Raya? So this is for everyone in the chat. Everybody get involved. I would suggest yes and no, and I'll explain. So the reason that I say no is because I do think he's a genuinely good shot stopper. I've seen him make some really, really good saves, some really good reflex saves. So like that, a lot of the time, because the defence is so good, or because teams play the way Atleti did tonight, and they don't necessarily attack Arsenal very much, Raya can spend long proportions of the match not really in the match. And then when he's called upon, his reflexes are really good. Like the save he made today, the Griezmann one, the commentator said, oh, well, it's the kind of save he should be making. Right. But it was also quite close, quite fast, and it was really reflexive. It was really good. I think he makes some good saves. So that's why I would say no. I would say yes in part. And the reason I say yes in part is, so for example, today, when he was caught in no man's land, Gabriel cleared the ball off the line. If Gabriel hadn't cleared the ball off the line, it probably would have been a goal because Raya wasn't there, in which case he would have conceded a goal today. But he didn't because his defender, Gabriel, stopped the goal. So sometimes, yes, but that's what defenders are supposed to do. Do you know what I mean? So yes, they protect the keeper, but a good defense should protect the keeper. So I don't think it's a criticism of him. I think that's what good defenses are supposed to do. But I also think in his own right, when he's called upon, generally he does make good saves. I think they save him when his erratic behaviour could cost him. So, for example, if his defence weren't as good, it may be the case that when he does some of these erratic things, he would end up conceding more goals and his defence save him in that way. So I think yes and no, if that makes sense. I hope I've explained that properly for people. But again, it's going to be very individual because it's about what you enjoy. It's about what like what Dibs was saying there. Like, he doesn't make him nervous at all. So if he doesn't make him nervous, he's, do you know what I mean? He's not feeling what I'm feeling. JT kind of sees a little bit of what I'm seeing. Luke is saying Raya actually keeps things calm with his distribution. So yes, they protect him, but he protects them, and it's a give and take system. So I think it really just depends on, so much of football, I think, depends on what you enjoy, what you like, what you want from your players. Because if they're given, so for me, I find Laman's really calming. He's really calm. He's really confident. He's really understated. He's not trying to pass around at the back. He's not trying to do headers on the halfway line. He just stays in his net. I really like that. Some people might say, well, I want my keeper to be a bit more good with his feet. I want my keeper to be a bit more involved in like build-up play. And therefore, they don't rate Lamans as highly as I do. And so I think it's what you want from a player determines whether you rate that player. Because what I want from a player might be different from what you want from a player. And therefore, I might rate them if they're giving me what I want. But if you're not, then it's, do you know what I mean? I'm waffling, I'm going in circles, but I think I've explained that. I think I've explained it. Dib says, I agree, Lou. Oh yeah, okay. This is on the resting. Dib says, I agree, Lou. They rested for this game, and in my opinion, they only had spells. Yeah, I think they had one incredibly short spell of less than 5 minutes in the first half. I think they had a slightly longer spell in the second half towards the end, but that's always to be expected. The chasing team at the end of a match generally has a flurry. That's normally the way it goes. And again, I just didn't really feel like I actually thought they were going to score. The closest they came was that one that Gabriel cleared from Griezmann. Other than that, Raya saved Griezmann's one. Gabriel's blocked. Where'd it go? Did I write it down who it was? No, I didn't write down who it was, but Gabriel, other than that chance that Gabriel got in the way of, I didn't really think they had anything really dangerous. Even when they were pushing and trying and it was getting a bit frantic and I just didn't actually feel like they were going to score. And I find a lot of the time 1-0 can feel like a very dangerous scoreline, and today it just didn't. It really didn't. I didn't feel like there was jeopardy. And maybe that's why I felt like it wasn't an exciting game, because I didn't feel that there was jeopardy. I genuinely felt like Arsenal were just going to win the match. And again, that's, obviously I don't have a horse in the race, so it's easier for me to feel a little bit calmer. You guys probably felt a little bit different, but I'm sure you take what I mean by that. So yeah, I agree. They rested for this game, and then they didn't look like they were any more energetic for it. We've read that from Luke. JT says, one of the problems that made Raya look worse than needed was some very sus back passes from Zubimendi or the other defenders. That doesn't help. That doesn't help. When a defender or a midfielder or one of your players passes the ball back and it's kind of at speed or at an awkward angle, or when you're under pressure, they're basically going like hot potato, and they throw they kick it towards the keeper just so they don't have the hot potato anymore. And so I do think that doesn't help the keeper. And you see it with other teams as well. You know, sometimes when a defender, normally a defender or a CDM is under pressure and they don't really know where to go, and they just kick it towards the keeper, and then the keeper's left to deal with it, who might also be under pressure. So I do think that sometimes does make things look worse. Yeah, I agree with that. Tom Tom is talking about Onana. Oh no. Tom is saying the best example is Onana. He got to a Champions League final with an incredible defence in front of him. He comes to United and the rest is history. I mean, that is certainly an example. I don't think I don't think we can compare Raya to Onana, though. That's probably a bit insulting to Raya. I take your point. I know what you're saying. I do know what you're saying. But yeah, we'll maybe not put them in the same conversation. Poor Raya. Poor Raya. Cleo, how did you survive Onana? Looking, this was how we survived Onana, and praying that when he was gone, he wouldn't come back. He's still trying to come back. He's still trying to come back. Unbelievable. Let me see. JT, what do we think about Alvarez? I didn't see 100 million plus player today. I agree. I did not see 100 million plus player today. I thought, again, he was someone who was better in the first leg. Not sensational. He wasn't one of the standout players in the first leg either. But today he was even not as good as in the first leg. I definitely wouldn't be paying 100 million for him. No way, no how, no thank you. No way. Let me see. JT says, one more on the penalties, the Griezmann one. Was that complete simulation? Because I saw clear distance from him touching him, but from another angle it looked sus. So, let me see. No. This was Calafiori on Griezmann after the save from Raya. So Griezmann had the shot, Raya saved it, and then Griezmann was caught by Calafiori. Is that the one you mean? If that is the one you mean, no, I didn't think it was simulation, and I actually think it would have been a penalty, only the referee had already blown the whistle. So the referee blew the whistle for a foul that happened just before that, which I don't think was a foul, and therefore anything that happened after the whistle was blown was irrelevant. But even at that, VAR were looking at it. VAR looked at it, but VAR couldn't do anything because once the referee blew the whistle, play was stopped. So anything that happened after that didn't count. But the fact that VAR looked at it, even though they couldn't overturn the decision, from the angle I looked at, from what I saw, I thought it would have been a penalty. But because the whistle was blown, it made no difference because it couldn't be given. It couldn't be given no matter what because the play had stopped when the whistle was blown. But I think if the whistle hadn't been blown, I think that was going to be a penalty. I didn't think it was simulation. But again, I might see another angle. Do you know the way it kind of throughout the night, all the clips will go out? So tomorrow when I have a look, I might see a different angle where I change my mind. But based on what I saw this evening, I didn't think it was simulation. But I'm open to other interpretations for the moment. Let me see. Cleo about Onana. JT says Gabriel did get a lot better at playing the ball, but still not a natural with it. And even today, some of the passing was sus. Who says we survived? I like that one. Come on, Johnny. No need to be rude. They were the better team this evening. 100%. Flossie says they said on TV it would have been a penalty if not for the foul. I thought that. I did think that. Yeah, and that's it. They checked for it. But the thing is, they couldn't award it. They did check. VAR checked it, but they couldn't award it because the whistle had blown. Once the whistle blows, the play is stopped. So they couldn't. But the fact that they checked it anyway, even though they couldn't overturn it. I thought tells you what you need to know. JT was a little distracted. JT was a little distracted, so didn't see it 100%. And the angle, yeah, double check it, JT. You know yourself. That when all the match is over, because of all the different channels and all the different TV companies in different countries, they'll all show different angles. So have a wee look on X kind of through the night and tomorrow, and you'll probably see more angles. But so the whistle was blown. And I think if it wasn't for the whistle, that was going to be a penalty. The reason I didn't talk about it earlier is because once the whistle's blown, nothing can be done about it. Johnny, I'm not being rude. I'd rather be them than some of the teams that play possession ball and win nothing. Oh, well, yeah, possession doesn't matter if you don't do it and win it. But tonight, I didn't feel like they were average. That's what I mean. Tonight, I didn't feel they were average. I thought they were the better team tonight. Now, I don't think they're going to win a double. I know obviously they're in the final, but I don't have them as the favourite for the final. I do think they're going to win the Premier League. And I've said that, guys. I've been saying that for weeks now. I said that even when they were on level points, I said, no, I still think it's going to be Arsenal. I think more points are going to be dropped. More points have been dropped. But I thought they were the better team today, to be fair to them. I thought Atleti today really let themselves down. I thought they played really bad football today. I thought they just didn't try for me today. And I don't think it's fair to blame Arsenal for Atleti not bothering themselves to try. Do you know what I mean? I understand maybe if you don't rate their football kind of throughout the season in the Premier League, that's fair. But tonight, I think it was Atleti. Tonight, I did genuinely think it was Atleti. Johnny says, I think Bayern win the final. The only thing that makes me worried is Arsenal could score the one goal, then keep Bayern out of the goal. And to be fair, that is what the Arsenal fans, that's what the guys here have been saying. They would probably prefer Bayern over PSG because this is a possibility. Whereas with PSG, PSG as a whole are erratic and you don't know what they're going to do. Whereas with Bayern, you have more of a chance. But I also reckon Bayern win. I reckon Bayern win overall. But PSG were very good. I'm looking forward to that second leg, not just because it was so many goals, but because PSG seem to be getting better match on match on match. And there could be a surprise. So I think that'll be interesting. And yeah, you kind of know what to expect from Bayern, which makes it seem like a manageable task, if that makes sense. Mohammed says, I do think Arsenal would still win the league because Man City had that game in hand to play and the fixtures aren't easy. Mohammed also thinks PSG win. I have said Bayern since the was it Monaco? Was it Monaco they played? It was one of the M teams. But I've been saying Bayern for a little while, but PSG really, really, really were good in the first leg. Like really, really were good in the first leg. So I don't think it's that's why I'm looking forward to that, because I really don't know who's going to win. Monaco, thank you. I thought it was Monaco, and then I was doubting myself because I don't remember things. Johnny is saying Simeone is a criminal to the sport. Oh, Johnny. Do you know what? I wish you would tell us what you really think. You're holding back here. Johnny says Simeone is a criminal to the sport. The dude entered the Champions League semi-final second leg and decided to park the bus. I have to say, he came in hot and heavy, did Johnny. But I actually think this might be the comment of the show. This is exactly how I feel about the match tonight. I thought Arsenal were the better team. I thought Arsenal deserved to win. I think they've earned their spot in the final. I think they are going to win the Premier League. However, I thought overall, particularly the first half, but I thought overall the match wasn't particularly exciting. And I think in large part that was down to Atleti, in large part that was down to Simeone's tactics. And I fully agree with this comment from Johnny. Simeone is a criminal to the sport, entered a Champions League semi-final second leg and decided to park the bus. This is more or less what I was saying at the very, very start of the battery action, guys. So yeah, Johnny's come in and just put it quite right. He's just found the right words for it. JT also reckons PSG wins. PSG is turning some people around. PSG are definitely turning some people around. Mohammed says it's going to be 10-11 on aggregate. And Mohammed says, I was disappointed with Atleti despite Arsenal being the better team. And that's it. It can be both. Arsenal can be the better team, Atleti can be terrible. Sometimes it's both teams. Both teams that were involved in the match were involved in the outcome. JT says we were okay. The final product is missing once again. That's a good question. That's a good question. So let us end on this. I think this is a good question. If you, well, not if, you are in the final, do you think that Gyökeres should start in the final or no? I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think about that. Should Gyökeres be starting in the final? Because I wasn't sure he was going to start today. I wasn't sure he was going to start today, and he did. And I'm not sure. It's been very mixed reviews. I didn't think he was great. I know some people thought he was. I just didn't think he did the job. Would you start Havertz over Gyökeres? Okay, emphatic. So Huge is with me. Huge says no. I agree. I would have Havertz on over Gyökeres. However, we're outvoted because Tom says yes. JT says yes, but with tears in his eyes. And Rob says yes. Dib says absolutely 100% yes. And Johnny, we talked about this earlier in the stream. The Zubimendi Lewis Skelly thing, because it was JT, was it you that said Miles Lewis Skelly was man of the match for you? So that is going to be a shout. But JT says of Gyökeres, he's slightly better off a bad bunch. Mohammed says he shouldn't. Arsenal play better without him. Tom would start Sesko. No, you would. Tom, no, Huge was saying he was decent today, but I wasn't worried he was going to score, which is not good when he's a striker. It's not the best thing to say about a striker. JT says I would start Marino if he is fit, to be honest. Is there any chance of Marino being fit? Let us have a look. So, is there any estimated date for him to be back? Let us look. Let us go to when is Miguel Marino expected back? Mikel Merino is in a race against the clock to play for Arsenal again this season, but will be fit for the Spain World Cup. Merino isn't expected back yet, if at all, this season. Potential return date, May 24th. In the end of April, it was reported that he's expected to begin running within 2 or 3 weeks, but that's like mid-May. I'm just trying to find the most up-to-date one. But like this one here is like a few hours ago. And they're like, It's looking unlikely. It's looking unlikely he's going to be back this season. And if he is, he's definitely not going to be up to full fitness. And then can you throw him into a final if you know he's not at full fitness? Let me see. Johnny says, I think Gyökeres had a good game for his standards. Fair. JT, Arteta does lie a lot, but apparently he should still be able to play this season. He's slow, but he's good at heading the ball and finishing and has some football IQ at least. Johnny hopes they start Madueke because that guy was playing like he didn't want Arsenal to win today. That's I understand what you're saying about Arteta, but it just doesn't seem there's not all of these reports. They all seem really Let us go to transfer market because they take everything and stick it together. And we're looking for Mikel Merino. Okay. And then we want to go to his injuries. Foot surgery. So a foot surgery in January. Okay, so his expected return date. So that was right. The one I read out before that said the 24th of May. That is, according to Transfer Market, his expected return date, which I believe would bring him back in time. Surely that does. Let me get the dates. Yeah. So if he's back by the 24th, that would have him back in time for the final because the Champions League final is the 30th of May. So it's possible. It's possible, but that's if everything goes 100% correct. So JT can dream, maybe. It's possible. Yes, JT, because the 24th is the final Premier League game. So the estimation is that he'll be back on the 24th of May. Your final Premier League game is the 24th of May. So your information is the same information as my information. We're clued in. Yeah, it's probably not, it's possible, not probable, is what I would say. Johnny says, I don't think Havertz will have sharpness, but could be wrong. He was it Sporting? Sporting, he scored the goal in the end. I thought he was good against Sporting for you guys. That's why I'm asking the question about Havertz, because I thought he was good against Sporting, not because I think he's fantastic. I'm just not convinced by Gyökeres at the minute. I'm just not convinced at the minute. Tom says, it could be us next season, Lou. Can I get us all tickets to the final? JT, there might be a few more of us rocking around this channel by next season. But if we get to a final, we'll swim across if we have to. We'll get there. And that's probably fair. That is probably fair from Johnny. The fact that an Arsenal fan is having to hope for Merino to be back when there are two strikers that are currently fit probably indicates that there's a problem within the striking department at Arsenal that they maybe will need to address by next season, because I think that's a fair shout. If you're hoping that Merino would be fit enough to start, what does that say about Gyökeres and Havertz? You probably need some upgrades in the department. I mean, we've only got one. We've only got Sesko. If anything happens, we don't have any others. But it's a lot of teams need a big summer. Mohammed's going to see us in the final. And JT says, Havertz and Jesus need to leave, and Gyökeres is a rotation player for me. He's certainly not the big smoke. Tom, no, he's not a striker. He's not. I like him. He's really nice. He's not a striker, though. He's not. He's not. He's definitely, and he's certainly not a United striker. He's lovely. He seems like just a really nice young man. He's not a striker. I'd rather play Shea Lacey. Genuinely, I'd rather play Shea Lacey. Um, that's I feel bad because I really wanted Xerxes to do well, but he's not done it for me. Guys, guys, it is 11. It is 11 at night. It is 11 p.m. It is time for me to go. Thank you all for being here. You're all wonderfully sensational people. Thank you very much to JT for his lovely super sticker. The lemon was in the house. Tom McBride for his very generous 2 super chats. For Rob for reminding everyone to please hit the like and subscribe. Thank you all so very, very much for being here. Well done to Arsenal. Congratulations to our very lovely Arsenal fans. Please do smash the like button on your way out. I will be live 12 o'clock tomorrow, as per usual. We will have lots more to talk about. Enjoy what's left of your evening, and you're all just wonderful teacups. Thank you all so much, guys.